Good morning everyone, and welcome back to the first ever dual episode of the custom LEGO Legend of Zelda Showcase Wave 2, where today we'll be taking a look at both Z0017 and 18, and if you didn't guess what these are already, it's fairly obvious. It's Vah Medoh and Vah Naboris from Breath of the Wild. Let's get into it. So we're going to take a look at these in tandem, but first let's talk about Medoh. So this is set number Z0017, the Vah Medoh Microfighter for ages 8+ with 155 pieces retailing for £9.99, Great British pounds, with one minifigure which is Revali, and you can see the small box art in the same style as the Star Wars Microfighter. You'll see this is Series 1. Ruta and Rudania are not in here, and this guy is just looking great, really. I've never particularly seen any Divine Beast customs online, so I wanted to give it a shot. And the big difference with these guys is obviously they sit their champion in it, which is a bit unrealistic, but then again, I've never seen a TIE fighter sit a TIE pilot like they do in Star Wars. But this, for Vah Naboris, it is Z0018, for ages 8+, the Vah Naboris Microfighter with 132 pieces, retailing for £9 Great British pounds and 99p, and with one minifigure, which of course is a botw. Looking in tandem for a minute, let's read the description. New collectible Divine Beasts are here. In Series 1, collect Vah Medoh and Vah Naboris, along with their respective pilots, to join the fight against Calamity Ganon. Seat the pilots in the beast and watch them move into battle to help Link. And to be honest, I think these guys would look pretty cute in like a Zelda layout. I mean, you could either display them on a shelf, because any Breath of the Wild fan's going to want the champions, or, you know, put a botw in it and then trample her through the Lizalfos battle pack, like Age of Calamity, I guess. But here are the models lined up, but let's talk about what's in their boxes. So inside the Vah Medoh box, we have an instruction manual and an unnumbered bag with a baby bag next to it. And inside that instruction manual, we have, bag builds Medoh and Revali. As for botw and Naboris, we have the same setup, one bag, one instruction manual, and one tiny bag. And inside the instruction manual, it's kind of the same thing, no numbers, no split. So bag builds Naboris and a botw. So taking a closer look at Medoh, I wanted to show these alternative angles. So firstly, on the top right, you can see not only the kind of shaping that I've used, so you can see the green bit where you fight Windblight, as well as the seat for Revali. You can see the little shaping I've done at the back, and then the tail piece using some plated hearts. You can sort of see the face, but not really. And then also the place where you unlock the final terminal, the champion control terminal on the back of Vah Medoh there. And this is the only Divine Beast, well, maybe bar Rudania, where you can actually see this because it's outside. As for the underneath, we've got some nice shaping for the wings, if a bit chunky, but Microfighters are kind of all in a chibi scale. But the best detail I wanted to show you from down here was one that Microfighters look cool from underneath, and to the windows that are on Vah Medoh's stomach, represented by those dark bluish grey corner slopes. And here we have a shot of Revali himself in the seat, sat there looking very pompous as you would expect. And there's a couple more details to Vah Medoh, but I'll show you those in the studio file once we've taken a look at Naboris. Before we get to Naboris, we're going to talk about the minifigure, which is Revali, and this is one of my earlier minifigures. I did this back still in Wave 1, so excuse the rough edges. He's actually reusing one of the eagle pieces from Shima, which is cool, and I think he doesn't suffer from it. So, you know, why not save money? We already got the mold. He's also wearing the shoulder piece that I don't know where it's from, but it kind of just points up at the two sides. Thought it was cool. He's got some nice front chest printing, some plain blue arms, and some nice leg printing that are not jewel molded. Underneath the Eris headpiece, there would be a normal minifigure head with some very creepy eyes that fill those slots. And this is a bow design I saw online, which is roughly minifigure scale, but I think it looks really cool. It's made up of 13 pieces. It's got 2 prongs on the end, and I recolored it to be blue and gold like Revali, because you know Lego would not be able to accurately color the champion's weapons. And there's your little reference material, but I suppose the champion's bow really is a bit blue. Again, it's kind of difficult. Is Revali blue or purple? But I settled for blue. Taking a look at Naboris, we've got a couple more angles here. Firstly, you can see it from below, which again just looks epic. I love this angle of showing the divine beasts from how you would see them as Link. So we had Vah Medoh from above, and now Naboris as if it's towering over you, and it's basically a miniature 80-80. You can see some of the shaping I did around the neck as well as some weird tan studs, which I'm really not sure why they're there. I can't remember. The middle shot, you can see the urbosa seat, as well as a couple of the details on the side on the far right. We've got the two humps, which are obviously slightly more spaced apart because we had to sit urbosa in the middle. You can see the head with its interesting printing, as well as how the legs have been built using dishes in 1x6 bar sticks with droid heads at the bottom. Using the 3x3 ice cream cone piece recolored into a dark tan, we also were able to recreate the sort of shoulder caps above the legs there, and the 1x2 Technic brick with hull represents those places where you can walk in and out of the Divine Beast. There's sort of like this ramp on the outside, some bomber walls maybe. Anyway, it's a nice extra piece of detail that nicely fills that gap. Besides that, we can see urbosa sat very visually inside it just here, and you know, it looks good. I'm really pleased with them, to be fair. At this scale, Divine Beasts are hard, they're slightly cheapified, yes, but I like what I was able to do. It's just a shame these dark tan pieces just don't fully exist yet. And here we have the urbosa minifigure, which is one of the most detailed we've seen in a while. Firstly, let's talk about the skirt piece, which instead of being a completely accurate shape, I chose to use the stepped one from the Series 12 Greek Goddess, I believe it is, which has a white stepped skirt, which we recolored in blue and put the Naboris printing on. The sword is Blackbeard's from Pirates of the Caribbean, again saving on molds, looks the same, and the shield is the slightly rounded out shield design that we've seen across many CMFs, and it's a very detailed print because it's a very important shield. As for her arms, they're not dual molded, they're in the darker flesh tone. You can see she's got some torso printing as well as a bit of printing on her feet to represent her high heels, which she somehow doesn't fall over in. You've got the face printing, which again was done before my big shift away from bug eyes, but I really think it suits her. And then a custom hairpiece, which will probably only ever be for her, although maybe there'll be another Gerudo that needs something like this in the future. Who knows? But either way, let's go and take a look at the two models in studio. First up is Medoh, and there's really not much else to show. I wanted to point out the neck shaping, which I thought was really wonderful, as well as the use of a red brick in the inside to, I guess, malice corruption? Except for he's not been corrupted by malice yet. But then again, this rings true when we look inside the window ports along the front of his wings, behind which is a transparent 1x5 brick pillar, which is a cool inclusion. I mean, a bit random, I guess, but he has windows along the front, so I wanted to break up the solid dark tan with some more of some details. Around the back, the shaping is fairly simple. I talked about these heart plates, which allow us to create an easy tail shape, nice and simply. And the other interesting part about Vah Medoh is it is a snot build for the wings. Most of it's built up white, but inside the middle, there is some snot going on. Anyway, next up is Naboris. And just like before, Naboris is another one where most of what you've already seen in the other images. I guess Naboris honestly looks a bit hollow because I can't fill in the gaps around these three wide domes. You can sort of see through it, but most angles you actually can't because, well, you're not looking straight on. As for these tan parts, I realised why they were important, as they're actually the whole reason the neck's actually attached. So maybe this isn't the most legal technique. I mean, legal, sure, but strong, not so much. But I've known these bar pieces to do their job quite well, so I guess that's something to test when all these pieces become available in the right colours. And yet again, like Medoh, we're using dark red, so I guess these Divine Beasts have been corrupted, although Naboris' eyes would say different. And unlike Medoh, where I could just use pieces to represent the face, here I had to employ the use of a print or sticker, although maybe thinking about it, you could do it with trans blue studs, although I don't think it would look as good. But behind that, you've got the domes, which are nicely shaped, and besides that, there's nothing else. There's urbosa's seat, and I suppose you even got the little entrance hole in the back where you enter. But really cool. Let's go back and close up. So that's that, another 2 sets down, and we've only got 3 left before we come to the second half of the wave, and that is really shocking to look at. But let me know what you guys thought about these divine beasts, because anything you say down below can still be taken on board for divining Vah Redania and Vah Ruta for wave 3, because yes, the champions have all been drawn. Those 2 sets will be appearing in wave 3 of the custom set showcase without a doubt. But let me know what you guys thought of Medoh and Naboris down below. Let's talk about next week, which is the smallest. It's the Polybag Z0021 with 93 pieces. Another one that maybe you can guess, although maybe it's a bit odd. But I'll tell you one thing, it's a 4-in-1 from Breath of the Wild. We're ramping up towards the end now. It's all part of one big connection. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.